Simone Hicks at some point has to decide that she's gonna be for real. And Nate, you fall down, but you get up. And Coach Marcus, you gonna be alright. What's good, y'all? She gets this Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another All-American Homecoming video. And in this one, we are breaking down season 3, episode number 3. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn your bell notifications so you don't miss out when I post new All-American Homecoming content and have these dope conversations. You can also join us every Tuesday around 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, where we do a live All-American Homecoming after show. So you can share with me your thoughts on the episode live and direct. But you will only be able to catch that if you subscribe and you turn on your bell notifications so you won't miss it. So don't forget to do that. Be sure to do that, babes. I had a lot of feelings around this episode, y'all. The highlight for me is definitely Nate and Nate's arc as, you know, student government president in her senior year. She is flourishing. She is cute. That bob is bobbing. The bay is baying, even though the bay has been recast. And I think, unfortunately, y'all, I might be a person who cannot get with the recasting of characters. I thought that I was pretty adaptable. I think in real life I'm pretty adaptable. And while, you know, Bay is cute, new Bay is cute, give me back old Bay. Give me that old face. Give me that old distinguished gentleman, Steve's aura, if you will. New Bay isn't bad. However, I definitely noticed it and it took me out a little bit. However, they are just as supportive and just as journalistic as the previous iteration. In this episode, there is a disabled student who gets attacked a little bit a ways away from campus, and they don't want to come forward. They don't want to make a fuss. And at the same time, Nate is battling with online forums at the school where people are claiming that she's only focused on issues that actually benefit her. So she gets the bright idea to go after and seek justice for this disabled student because she's able to put 2 and 2 together, pretty much immediately knows who it is. This leads her down a very interesting path. And again, the arc for this episode was very interesting because while the motivation and the intentions were kind of pure, some of it was self-serving and wanting to shift the perception of her, but she ultimately still wanted to help, was doing everything because she wanted to help. But sometimes we be so focused on helping, sometimes we be so focused on saving that we don't actually hear the person who we aim to benefit and what they actually need versus what we think that they want. And that's what actually plays out. But then by the end of the episode, Nate is actually able to double back, is able to reflect after Ezra, aka Wheelchair Bay, gets her all the way together. I was like, listen, Ezra, do you know Simone Hicks? Do you have an inkling about Simone Hicks? Because the way that you clocked all the tea regarding Nate, which cool, clock it, she did some untoward things, you had to check her, but we would really love a nice read for Simone Hicks, and I need you to be in her friend group so that you can slide your ass over there and read her for filth the same way that you got Nate together, because it was wonderful. It was just top tier, okay? Top tier read. Unfortunately, they don't actually run in the same circle, so we won't get that, and we didn't get that. But I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed Nate being able to take all of the feedback in negative in that moment, as well as earlier in the episode when Ezra was simply just communicating like, yo, leave it alone. I'm good. I have a support system. I'm fine. Nate was able to take everything that she was exposed to, everything that was said to her in this episode, and really make the adjustments, really self-reflect, figure out where she had went wrong, regardless of intentions. The impact is most important. And I have said that multiple times. It's so interesting to have that dialogue come out of a character's mouth, because y'all know I say this on various lives that impact beats intention. And it's not just about what you intend to do. It's about what your impact actually is. And she says that in this episode. And then by the end, her and Auntie Amara are able to come together for a proactive solution now that provides each student with little alarms that will help them stay in tune with the security police and help security police respond quickly if they are actually in danger or being confronted or having any kind of issues. So hopefully the situation that happened with Ezra won't happen to any other student moving forward. Nate gets the win of being able to come through for the student body, reassure everyone, prioritize safety, because the student body is also still struggling with the administration, feeling like they're not on the same accord. And Nate is the liaison between the student body as well as administration. So she was able to literally navigate this ultimately so beautifully. And I thought that that was just such a dope story to see. The best of the episode, probably the only thing worth anything in the damn episode, because JR, well, actually, Coach Marcus's story is something that's worth something, but we didn't get a ton of it, right? We see that he's, you know, on campus, he's teaching, and he's also doing, he's coaching the track team now, so he's bouncing back, and he's also heading up the wellness program or the wellness center, so he's still very much so there. But there's this cryptic guy that pops up early in the episode, and he happens to be talking to JR at the time that he sees him, and he gets distracted, and JR reads it like, oh, something's wrong, maybe that man came looking for him, but ultimately that was the man who he hired as a private detective to figure out what his ex-wife had going on. And his ex-wife has a whole 14-year-old, his biological son, who she's been raising with her fiance, as if the boy did not have a father, or the father did not want him. And now Marcus has to grapple with, like, what does he do? Does he stay out the way and don't go and see about his son and confront her on it, or do he go and get what's his? He's been, you know, watching his son on social media, seeing that he does have a father figure in her fiance, and that kind of put up a little bit of pause for him. And I think that while this story is good and this arc is good, because we didn't get to see a ton of it, I didn't really get to feel like I went on a ride like I did with Nate's story. And then ultimately you have the sprinkling in of Auntie Amara, who comes and tries to see about him early on because JR feels like something is off about the guy that approaches him, only to find out that this is what it's tied to. And then she got to back away, and it's like, yo, Auntie Amara, I feel you, I understand your feelings and your hurt tied to, like, y'all were actually making really great headway romantically, and then this ex-wife that you knew nothing about pops up, and that puts a halt to everything. But that was a year and like 4 or 5 months ago. One, he never cheated on you, he didn't realize that the divorce never went through. Yes, he never told you about it, that's one thing, but you are, you know, whining to Simone about how you are heartbroken, and you clearly still love this man the way that you went to him when you thought that he was in peril. And then ultimately when you double back at the end of the episode saying that you didn't like how you left him, why can't you just start to push yourself to get over it? Because it's clear that he still has your heart, and he didn't have any malicious intent, and ultimately he had no actual control. So I can't even say that he had control over the impact here, because he didn't. She popped up, he thought that she was a thing of the past, and she wasn't. And then ultimately she had an even bigger nasty motive tied to, like, her popping up, and then she was still hiding something. She hid a whole son from him, and I know that that's a lot to take on. I really battle my feelings around how Auntie Amara is responding, because everything that she decides to do is valid in reference to her feelings, but I just don't understand how we are a year and like 4 or 5 months out, and she's seemingly just as mad, just as hurt, just the same as she was the same night that she found out about the previous wife. And from what we have seen, because we haven't gotten to see a lot, Coach Turner has not changed, has not swayed, has not anything as it pertains to the wife, and has still had eyes and a heart for her, and she's working behind the scenes to make sure he's still good. Like, he ultimately got the track coach position because she put in a word for him and is looking out for him. So I'm just like, girl, y'all are getting too old to be putting off your happiness, putting off your blessing. And if you really want to go back into the arms of this man, won't you just go back into the arms of this man, and you can literally figure out everything else. So Coach Turner and Nate, they provided the sustenance in this episode. Simone Hicks is a complete and utter menace, and she's continued to menace this episode. And with every new episode, she literally just confirms my thesis that she is the brown-skinned Olivia Baker. Because, girl, why are you being nasty? Why are you being so rude? And no, you are not Thea Mays. And the crazy drive to be Thea after you didn't appreciate her when she was here and you stole her damn man is beyond me. Yeah, I said it. Because you're running around here trying to act like you're Thea, but when Thea was nasty, she ain't had nobody walk out on her. When Thea was like getting in people's asses, it was grounded in the actual like work of the sport. You are literally picking on people and bullying people for no damn reason, and then you're doing it to people who literally look like you, like that new girl, the walk-on girl. Even though her technique, child, I miss Thea simply because watching the tennis matches look better when she was on the field, because I think that Camille invested a little bit more time and like really got in the flow, or Camille actually plays tennis in real life, because y'all watching it, it's just so clear that they don't know what they doing. It's so clear that these are not real tennis players to me, but I digress. Simone, like, taking the court time from the girl and like continuing to push herself harder. Her bruises aren't healing, which is leaning towards like maybe she got some underlying ailment or some type of autoimmune disease going on. I get like kind of them trying to make it apply to like, oh, she misses Damon, and her and Damon promised that they was gonna make the time apart count, and he's down there in the DR killing it, and she's up here being extra regular, so that means that she needs to go hard. And I'm just like, at what point do you take a goddamn chill pill, Simone? Because everything in your life is an emergency. Everything is dire. Everything is the end of the line. Every match, like, and I'm so glad that they actually had her lose this match, because nobody wins everything all the time. It just does not happen. So not that I'm rooting for her to fail completely, but we're totally missing out on all the strong character development and all the real story that will come if this girl was actually suffering the consequences of some of the things that she's actually doing. I'm glad in this episode we get to see her get checked for being a bully and for pushing people way harder than just a little bit of tough love. And I'm glad that she lost the match, because we provide like consequences to these behaviors so that we can ultimately watch a journey of this character growing. But I'm not even fully sure that Simone is fully growing, because in the preview we're starting to see that she goes, or at the end of the episode we get to see that she goes to see her physical trainer, who tells her that nothing's wrong and she's okay, and she has this air about her that she got to be perfect and she knows her body, which is cool. Like, clearly we launched into a storyline of like black women not being heard within the medical fields, and I registered with that so tough. Like, a year and a half ago I literally left my primary care doctor because this woman would not give me a sonogram during my yearly, and I wanted to just check for like fibroids or whatever, and she's like, well, you don't have this symptom, so it's probably not the case. And it's like, okay, well, I need you to write that in my chart, because I'm asking for X, Y, and Z and you're denying me this. And then she went ahead and ordered it. And we have to do that. Like, black women have to basically advocate for ourselves at every walk of life with everything. And I really, really resonate with the whole advocating for yourself within medicine. I have so many stories for days around just different medical professionals. So I think that would be really, really great. However, I think that Simone as a character needs to come from a more humble place than where she actually is. And not humble and not advocating for herself, but humble and like, girl, you're still figuring it out. You are a junior in college, and yes, you have been in college for a little bit, but you're still at the very beginning of life. And the Simone that we knew coming out of Beverly and like first year of Brixton was just so open and accepting and willing to take in experiences, take in environments and learn from it. And this Simone feels very rigid, as if it's her way or the highway, and only the way that she sees it is what it's going to be. And it's like, girl, you haven't even gotten out into the world yet. Are you even thinking about going pro? Because you can't with this mindset that you have. Like, even the whole nice nasty or the nasty that she gave this episode, while people were making us like the comparison to Thea could actually back it up with talent. Thea could actually back it up with skill. Thea could actually back it up with strategy and so much more. Simone is just doing shit just to do it, and it's falling flat as from her character. So hopefully this episode marks a shift in her character as we get ready to launch into the storyline tied to, you know, black women in medicine and having to advocate for ourselves, and we get to see a less self-righteous Simone, but just an advocating for myself and the like speaking up and all of that type of Simone. I did not enjoy watching her try to shit on everybody around her. I don't like her being in so many positions of leadership, whether it's in her sorority or being a captain of the team, because it's so clear that she so easily abuses the power of leadership, and she doesn't regard it as it needs to be regarded. As in, I think that most leaders if they're great leaders, then it's a follow the leader type of thing, not do as I say, not as I do. And I don't think that Simone lives up to a lot of the standards that she tries to set for people, which just makes it harder to buy into her form of leadership and just confirms how unlikable she is. Now we're going to talk about this a little bit more, because I was on my other channel, my personal channel, watching it and giving live reactions. So if you guys wanted to see that, you can go over to Erica Vane TV and see my live reactions from watching the episode. And Kofi brought up something that is swirling around the All-American fandom conversation spaces. So we'll talk about that on live as it pertains to what is going on with Simone internally, and is she sick, and how that's going to play out. So come and join me on live on Tuesday so that we can talk about that part. Keisha is missing this episode. Cam is missing this episode, but they don't really explain where Keisha is. They just say that she's kind of MIA, which I guess is going to further the line of like the storyline of her, you know, dipping off to go and prep. But this is like apparently a month has passed, or maybe a couple weeks has passed. So I think that her audition audition should be happening either like now or like in the next couple days. So it was really kind of weird and jarring. Like they alluded to her or they spoke about, you know, oh, we need Keisha here to give advice, but we don't actually get to see her in this episode, and that's a little bit frustrating. I think that's pretty much it. That's all that went down in the episode that I can recall. If I missed something, let me know in the comment section and we can keep the conversation going there. It's your good sis, She Let Her Talk TV with, and I thank you so very much for watching this video. I have an All-American Homecoming playlist. If you missed any other videos or any of my All-American Universe content, is right here. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, please be sure to do so, and I'm gonna see you in my next one.